Good evening. You are listening to KZSC's Voces Criticas, Critical Voices. I'm your host, Silvana Falcone. Today's show is being dedicated to the people in Charlottesville who stood up to racism, bigotry, patriarchy, and white supremacy. There are people around the country who are fighting against misogyny and racism every single day and literally putting their lives on the line. What has happened in Charlottesville is a national tragedy, and we shouldn't mince words about it. Today's show is focused on the empowerment of girls and young women. It is through the strong leadership of girls and young women that the world can be transformed. I'm in the studio live with two representatives of Girls Inc. of the Central Coast, Perla Pineda and Angelica Villegas. Perla is the Special Projects Program Coordinator of Girls Inc. and has been with the organization for 2 years. Born in Santa Cruz and raised in Watsonville, Perla is also a mom of 2 young children. She loves being able to serve her community through her job at Girls Inc., which she finds truly fulfilling and rewarding. Angelica Villegas is the program facilitator at Girls Inc. of the Central Coast. She's been affiliated with the organization for the past 7 years, first as a participant of their programs in middle school and high school, and then as a young leader of their programs when in high school, and now as a staff person. She has an associate's degree in elementary teaching from Hartnell College and will be attending CSU Monterey Bay, majoring in liberal studies this fall. Her goal is to become an elementary school teacher. Welcome to KZSC's Voces Criticas.
Thank you.
Thank you, Silvana.
Angelica, let's start with you. Tell us about the programs and the work that you did with Girls Inc. as a middle schooler and as a high schooler.
Yeah, definitely. I started as a participant my 7th grade year at the middle school called Friendly Persuasion, a program that the Girls Inc. Provides there at my middle school. It's in a drug abuse substance awareness program that we have for the 7th graders there. It consists of 2 different phases where this workshop teaches the girls about peer pressure, how to stay away from different situations that they might encounter as a middle schooler, and how to be assertive and say no to certain situations that they might be facing. Once I was done with the middle school program, I did continue with the high school program called the ECHO program, which stands for Education, Career, Health, and Opportunities, where we're taught more about our values, about the different choices that we have after high school, graduating high school, continuing on into our further education, where we also have fun field trips where we take the girls to colleges and visit different campuses as well. And we're also taking up to the state capitol where we know how a bill becomes a law and meet our legislators there as well.
Now you are a staff person there.
Yes.
And so how did that transition happen?
Since I stayed in the community and decided to go to a community college, I still wanted to continue and work with Girls Inc. So they gave me the opportunity to stay there and work as a facilitator at the middle schools and continue to work at the high school programs. And I did help expand the programs there at San Benito County and at Santa Cruz as well. So that was a good opportunity that I had with Girls Inc.
That's great. So Perla, tell us about the communities that are served by Girls Inc. and the Central Coast.
Girls Inc. of the Central Coast covers the 3 counties, which are Monterey County, Santa Cruz County, and San Benito County. We cover the cities of Watsonville, Castroville, Hollister, Salinas, Seaside, Marina, King City, Soledad, Greenfield, Gonzales. So we're a little bit of all over the place. And hopefully within the near future, we can continue to expand to more communities.
And so can you tell our listeners about the kind of larger demographics of the girls who use Girls Inc.'s programs and services?
So most of the girls that we are serving, 79% of them are Latina, and we have 5% Caucasian. We have 4% African American. 2% of them are Asian, and the rest of the 10% left over are a mixed heritage.
And so what do you do in your role as the Special Projects and Program Coordinator?
So as a programs coordinator, my main focus is to coordinate our Growing Together program. So this program is really special to me, mostly because it's a program designed for mothers and daughters. So this program is designed to increase positive communication between young girls and their mothers, or in the event that their mothers are not present, another significant adult. And in this program, we talk about positive communication, problem-solving strategies. It's a time where moms and their daughters can come and bond and do activities together. So most of my focus throughout the school year goes there. I also coordinate the middle school programs. And then when we're kind of off school season, we have a lot of fundraisers. We have a lot of events that we do. So then my focus goes to coordinating these events or helping coordinate the events, because these events raise crucial funds for our organization.
And why is it important to focus on girls? Like, why is it important that these programs that you guys are doing are exclusively focused to the empowerment of girls and young women? Perla, why don't we start with you?
Having an all-girl environment enables girls to plunge into activities without worrying whether they fit in or they don't, whether they belong or not. So having gender-specific programming allows the girls to feel comfortable, to feel confident, to work at their own pace, to not have to worry whether they're fast enough or they're smart enough or, they're just comfortable with themselves. And this also allows them to prepare for interesting work and economic independence, to help them accept their bodies, to take risks, to strive freely, to take pride in their success, to express themselves with originality, and also to resist gender stereotypes.
Those are the Girls Inc. Bill of Rights, which I love, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But Angelica, tell us for you what it was like to be, or why it was important to be in spaces that were exclusively working with girls and young women.
Creating that safe environment for girls, for an all-girl environment, just allowed the girls to speak what was in their mind without being judged. What, like Perla said, not being able to be compared to someone else. Just letting them know that their voices can be heard, no matter what their opinion was, what their answer was. They were there to be heard and mentored.
And did you feel that way when you were going through the programs?
Yeah, definitely. It helped me really get out of my shell as well. Without Girls Inc., I don't think I would be here at this moment right now. I used to be a shy, quiet girl, and now I have the confidence to speak in front of a crowd and stand up for my own rights.
And here you are on the radio, so definitely. Perla, can you talk a little bit about if there's any negativity or pushback about the kind of girls focused of the programs? And I wonder how the organization deals with that. And I say this in the context of, kind of growing men's rights movements that are sort of hostile to any kind of gender-specific programming that you're getting at.
Not necessarily. I feel that we do get the question asked a lot. Do you have something like this for boys? And why not for boys? Like, I wish we can do this for my son. And we kind of gear back to the importance of having a girl-only environment and kind of turn it into a positive thing that we have all these girl-only environments.
You're listening to Perla Pineda, the Special Projects Program Coordinator, and Angelica Villegas, the Program Facilitator of Girls Inc. of the Central Coast. Just a few minutes ago, they were mentioning the Girls' Bill of Rights, and I think that entire Girls' Bill of Rights merits a read, and then I would like both of you to sort of comment on them. So the first Bill of Rights is girls have the right to be themselves and resist gender stereotypes. Girls have the right to express themselves with originality and enthusiasm. Girls have the right to take risks, strive freely, and take pride in success. Girls have the right to accept and appreciate their bodies. Girls have the right to have confidence in themselves and be safe in the world. And girls have the right to prepare for interesting work and financial independence. So, Angelica, when you were learning about the Girls' Bill of Rights, what did you think of them?
Well, I learned that what these Bill of Rights were there for is that girls can do anything that they set their mind, regardless of their gender types. We want to fight gender stereotypes and teach them that they don't need another person to financially support them, that their voice can be heard, and that they have full control over their own body and themselves just by being assertive.
And these are very important kind of understandings, I think, for girls to have. Now, Perla, talking about these things like safety, like financial independence, as rights, this sort of, in my view, raises the level of expectation that society and accountability, right? That the society should be meeting these rights. Is this what is the intention behind coming up with a Girls' Bill of Rights, that you're not necessarily hoping that girls are safe, or that they become economically independent, but that as an organization, we should expect this in society? And I wondered if you could maybe comment a little bit about that.
I want to say that we want girls to know that they can do anything they set their minds to, regardless of their gender, just like Angelica was saying. We want to fight gender stereotypes and teach them that they don't need, somebody else there to financially support them. And I don't want to necessarily say an expectation, but I want to say that we do give them the skills or the knowledge that they are going to need to be able to be assertive when the time comes, to be able to accomplish these goals that they set themselves to, and in hopes that everything that we do teach them there, can turn into something positive where they can make these smart decisions in life and be successful in whatever, they choose to do.
There's a kind of a shaming of girls who are proud of themselves, and there's a shaming of girls who are really proud of their success or have acquired a level of financial independence or stability. And so what I like about the Bill of Rights is it counters that negativity, which I think these messages that girls get are pretty profound. Since you work with such diverse girls, how has the current political climate affected the girls and their families, especially emotionally?
going back to the demographics, 79% of our girls that we serve are Latina. And this definitely has been a huge impact on our girls because a lot of these girls are being affected directly because they do have parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts that are undocumented. And they have while not everything that we see in the media is real, these girls are very vulnerable, and they're very, they just believe everything that's being said. So they're very fearful. They are stressing. They're scared to go back home and not find their parents. And while some of them are not being affected directly, they are being affected because their friends at school have parents that are undocumented, and they see their friends stressing out, or they see their neighbors, or they hear their mom talking about it with their abuelitas, and then now they are worried. They're worried that they're gonna have their parents be taken away. And now we also have our high school girls fearful of leaving to college because they don't want to leave their parents behind. They don't want to go off, and worried that their parents are not going to have anybody there for them to stand up for them, to translate, to read them their rights when they encounter situations.
And are you seeing the same thing, Angelica?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with Perla. I mean, every girl that we get from these programs, they're all different, but it affects not only oneself, but everybody else around us.
And so are they communicating these fears to you when they're at Girls Inc., and how is Girls Inc. responding to this?
When one of the high school programs, it's called the ECHO program that we have group discussions where everybody gets to share whatever is going on in their mind or whatever they want to share. We're really open to that. We do have girls that share their experience with these different types of situations that Perla was talking about. And it does worry us as mentors and youth leaders and adult figures for them as well. So what we do is we try to do some research to them and just let them know that everything's going to be okay, and we're there to support them and mentor them and guide them through these different situations that they might be encountering.
Yeah, and definitely giving them the resources and the information that, like Angelica said, we try to, sometimes we get these questions thrown at us and it's like, oh my God, like what do we say to them? So, we always tell them, we let us get the information for you and then be able to provide them with the accurate information. That way they can now go back home and give their parents, their families that information, and hopefully relieve a little bit of that stress or that fear that they're having. Definitely has affected a lot of the girls that we are serving. And I remember the following day of the elections, we had a program, and a lot of our girls didn't show up to school.
It was a program at the school, and they were
because we have our after school programs. And I remember the day after the elections, they were just so sad, and it was really devastating to just see them, because we grow these connections with them, and it's like they're our own children. And when they're hurting and when they're stressed and when they're sad, it affects us as well.
And so how soon after did they return to school, or were they gone for a while? Or
well, no, we see them once a week. So the following week they were there, and we were able to, talk about it. And the girls that were there that day, we were able to, again, like I'm working with the middle school program. So the girls, we were able to open up, we try to be a little lenient when it comes to what we teach. We do have curriculum, but there's times where stuff like this is happening, and we want to make sure we talk about it then and there, because it's going on and it's affecting them and it's important to them at the moment. So we take our time and we have them open up about how they're feeling and how, just sometimes just having them speak about it just helps them.
To me, things feel like so chaotic all the time. And so I think working with young people, feeling like you yourself as an adult or as the mentor is trying to process what's going on, just sort of how are things with you?
I think for myself, I don't know, I kind of go back and forth with my feelings. I feel like I listen to everything that's going on, and it's like, man, like this is so, I don't know, it's just so crazy. And then it's like, then I try to back off and say you know what, I'm not even going to let this affect me, because at this point, it's going on, and it's like another thing to stress over. So it's just kind of hard to
learning how to balance that.
Yeah. But it's definitely it affects myself. It affects my children too. Like my daughter, hearing her being scared that some of our family members might not be able to be around us anymore. So that it's scary.
Yeah, that's the same thing. I think, how do you explain this in some ways to young people? Because it is, I think we're still kind of trying to figure it out as the mentors and as the adults. Are you seeing, especially you, Angelica, since you used to be a participant and now you're at this position of staff person, are you seeing the needs of the girls when compared when you were going through the programs? Has it changed? Is it more or less the same?
The needs have definitely changed. Every generation is different. When I was a middle schooler 7 years ago was a lot different than now. I believe social media has a big impact on girls. It peer pressures them, influences them to to be seen a certain way or to react a certain way to different genders as well. But I believe as these needs are being brought up every different year, we do change our curriculum and let them know and teach them about different workshops that the girls with the situations that they might be encountering. And we do talk about that and have discussions with the girls and just let them know what's really going on there and let them realize that they could be themselves and they don't have to be peer pressured by the media not just the media, but by their peers as well, or certain situations that they might encounter at school.
I imagine the social media is pretty intense.
Yeah, definitely.
So how are you guys talking about social media? Like I always think need to talk about social responsibility around social media.
So we do teach peer and media pressure, like segment, I guess you want to call it. We go over what the girls are seeing in advertising, what the girls are seeing in the media, and how a lot of the things that they see are photoshopped, how a lot of the things that they're hearing are a negative way that women are portrayed, and then we want to turn it around on them and try to have them pick a positive way where women would be portrayed. And we also talk about bullying, and through the media, the girls, they're expected to look a certain way or expected to have certain things, and when they don't, they feel bad about themselves, and then they either take it out on other people and then they bully them, or when they see girls that are not like them or they don't have the stuff that they have, then they tend to react by bullying them. So we talk about how to stand up for themselves, or if they are not, it's not being done to them directly, but it's being done to their friends, how to stand up for their friends.
And so you have the programs in this after school program, and then you also have other programs in the community, is that right?
So we're an outreach program where the staff goes out to the different middle schools and meet in their schools right after school in a classroom for about 2 to 3 hours with the girls, and then they're released to go home. So our programs are right after school in their school campuses.
And the mother-daughter program, that one is in the evening. The high school program is also a couple hours after they get out of school. Then we have these that are happening throughout the school year. And then we have, in the summer, we have our 2 summer camps. One of them is our Strong, Smart, and Bold camp. And that one is for 8 to 11-year-olds. It goes on for 2 weeks. And then Angie will tell you a little bit more about what goes on there because she's there all the time. And then we have our Smart Choices program, which we just had here at UCSC, and it was super fun and amazing. We have our 8th grade girls going into high school come and stay for a week, and they get to live in the dorms, and they get to dorm with other girls, and they get to live on campus and eat the food here and learn here and go to school here. That way they can get experience on what it feels to be in college. And this allows them to then envision themselves going away and, taking their education further. And for a lot of these girls, it's such a life-changing experience because they never imagined leaving their town or their hometown. And now they're seeing themselves in this huge, beautiful campus, and they're like, yes, we want to go to college, and we want to have all these goals and dreams for ourselves that we want to set and reach.
And do the parents have a lot of questions about them doing overnight camps?
Yes.
I say that knowing that my mother, and I'm sure I would have questions too.
So we do have parent meetings that we have, and we basically set up this time where we have all the parents come in. Depending on their school, we have different, we have them at different schools. And then we have all these questions that we know they're going to have, but we have some girls are not allowed to come because they've never been away from home, and some of their parents are really strict, and they're just never, ever allowed to leave or spend the night anywhere else. And it's hard because it's such a great opportunity for these girls. It's such a positive thing, and we've been able to convince a lot of dads, mostly. But then we have some that we just can't get through them, and it's like, oh, I wish I could, but we just can't. So
yeah, you do what you can. And Angelica, you were talking about the middle school program. Like, what is that program like for you, and what does that program mean to you?
Yeah, so we have 2 different middle school programs. We have the Friendly Persuasion program, which is a drug substance abuse program that we have that deals more about peer pressure, the different types of relationships that the girls have at that age, which consists of 2 different phases, where the girls are taught about stress, about communication, how to communicate with one another. So during the first phase, the youth leaders teach the 7th graders these types of different topics, and then during the second phase, the 7th graders go teach the elementary school. So they go into their local elementary school and teach the 4th and 5th graders. So they become youth leaders as well, which is a positive thing to give back to the community as an elementary.
That's great. We're almost out of time. I wondered if you could maybe share about upcoming events
Sure.
That you want to let people know about?
Yes. So for the community of San Benito, Friday, October 6th, we're having our Taste and Treasures event. This event, we have different women chefs and wineries and breweries come, and they sample their food, their wine, and we have a silent auction, live music. And again, all of our events that we have are very crucial because they raise funds for the organization. And then we have our Bubbles and Bags event November 19th, and this is an event in beautiful Spanish Bay. And then also September 16th, we have our Cycle Giving event in Carmel.
Thank you both for coming into Voces Criticas. If you want to learn more about Girls Inc., go to www.girlsincccc.org. You are listening to KZSC Santa Cruz.